about all those veterans, both here and the ones that have gone before us. It's a time to bring them back in memories and in thoughts. It's a time to talk about them. But see, tonight I have something very special, because I get to talk about a very special veteran. But to me, he is my hero. I'm going to take you on a little trip back to 1969 in a place called Oshkosh Valley. I was stationed there, came from the 101st, transferred into the Americal unit. And it didn't take me long to learn who my friends were, and it sure wasn't the enemy. But I had a guardian angel. I had a veteran out there that looked over me, and his title was Alpha Tango Sierra 136. That was his call sign. He was my desktop coordinator and all the other things that I ever needed. My call sign was lonely. Well, if you wonder why I'm lonely, I'm always lost. This man was a Marine, a true Marine. He took his job to the nth degree. He held nothing back when it came to my men who were wounded and on the ground. And I would call him and I'd say, Alpha Tango Sierra, this is 136, lonely. I got 3 up and 2 down. That meant I had 3 wounded and 2 that didn't make it. And we listened to the radio transmissions of this man who would go into overdrive to get me what I needed to get these men off the battlefield. And he would risk court-martial. For an example, one day I had 6 down, and I had 6 up and 2 down. And I called him. Well, the first dust-off chopper was there in about 5 minutes. But there were no more birds available except for one. And that was one that had a light kernel flying around in it. Why, I don't know. But he called that bird and said, I've got coordinates for you. You will go and you will pick up these wounded and these men who have gave their lives. Well, naturally, the lieutenant colonel said, no, I'm on a special mission. I can't go. His reply was, I'll make this simple for you. I've got a hill named 873. I'll be glad to put you on it. There's a company of Marines down there that will keep you company, but your chopper's going after these men. They came, and they got my men. I was amazed at some of the things he did. But this man was a true veteran, a true soldier. He would call me in the middle of the night and say, lonely, this is Alpha Tango. Are you lost? No, it's dark. I'm okay. One day he called me up and said, lonely, this is Alpha Tango Sierra 136. You want some steaks? You guys have been out there a long time. Boy, I was just thrilled. He said, they're on their way. He said, just pop me some green smoke. They already know who you are, where you're at, and they're coming now. So the chopper came in, duffel bags went out, charcoal went out. My guys ran up, cut them bags open. It was cans of Spam. He knew we needed a morale lifter. His exact comment was, hey, it's canned Spam. It's good. Cook it and eat it. But he kept our morale up. But he did so much more for me because he became my friend. I didn't know this man's name. I had no idea who he was. On July 21st, 1969, I fell in a plunging pit. And for those who don't know what one is, it's sharpened bamboo in the ground with ground cover over it. Took my rucksack off, laid it down, and fell head first in it. It's only by the grace of God that my rucksack took most of the stage. They pulled me out, gave me a shot of morphine. My platoon sergeant got on the radio, hollered at Alpha Tango Sierra, and said, lonely is down. And you could hear it in his voice. He went into overdrive. And let me tell you, if you're laying on the ground wounded, there is no better sound than the sound of that helicopter coming to get you. Well, it wasn't but 4 or 5 minutes I heard the blades. And I knew that I was going home. But it wasn't meant to be. That helicopter got shot down within 100 yards of our perimeter. I sent a platoon out to get them. Brought the men back. The LZ was too hot. So they gave me more morphine and said, LT, you're going to have to walk out to another LZ. So we started on our trip, and they moved me to the front of the column. And I hated it because I always walked 13th man back, and now I got to walk 3rd back. Somewhere between the 1st LZ and the 2nd LZ, we encountered a very large force of NVA soldiers. In the process, I was shot twice. My trip in Vietnam was over. I woke up 21 days later in Japan, taped and strapped to a board, thinking I had been captured. I had no clue what happened. And for 40 years, I didn't know. And then there was a celebration going on Memorial Day. And Danny Jackson convinced me to go. Now you have to realize something. I just spent 40 years under a rock. I wasn't in the mood to go anywhere. But Danny, being the kind of man he is, would not let that go. So we went to a place called Yorkville. Had a celebration. They called all the Vietnam veterans up front. Everybody's shaking hands and laughing. It's over. And out of the clear blue sky, a man who has never called me by my call sign, Barry Clark, calls me lonely. I look over, and I see this man about to stare a hole through me. Has a VBA jacket on. He's got a Marine hat on. Comes over, grabs my hand. He said, "Is that your call sign, Lonely?" I said, "Yes, sir." 1969, Oshawa Valley, America? "Yes, sir." He said, "I'm Alpha Tango Sierra 136. 40 years. And I met the man who saved not only my life, but the hundreds of men that I had wounded, and took the 43 that have given their lives for our great country off the battlefield. I cannot explain to you what it was like that day. But I got a chance to spend a lot of time with Charlie Rowe, because now I know his name. And he's interned right out here. And I visited him tonight before I came in. He is truly an American hero. For what he did for all those men, and what he did for me, is just unbelievable. But Charlie wasn't done. Charlie told me what happened on that day in 1969. I thought I ran away. Well, I didn't run away. But he told me a lot of other things. And one time we were at a reunion. He said, "Buck," he said, "I got the nose plate up on 136. Would you like to have it?" "Shoot, yes, off the helicopter that saved all my men's lives. You dang straight." And the one that took, "Oh yeah, absolutely." Well, about 2 days later, he showed up. But when he showed up, he was carrying this. I said, "Charlie," I said, "you made a mistake, didn't you?" He said, "Yeah, I sure did." He said, 136 got shot down coming to get you. But 236 is the chopper that came to get you. This is the helicopter that took you out of the field on July 21st, 1969. Jerry Franks, a Marine medic, is the one that saved your life. Needless to say, this became my most prized possession, right there. But he said, "I'm not done." He said, "I've got to talk to some more people first." So we went back to the reunion, and he talked to people, and this Jerry Franks came to the reunion some 10 and 12 years before I came. And he would tell the story of Lonely, and how he got to save the life of a man who was going to get the Medal of Honor. At least it's sad you get the Medal of Honor, but that doesn't matter. It's the fact that Jerry Franks was there, but then he gave the ultimate. He gave this to Charlie and said, by the way, this is painted from an actual picture that was taken on July 21st, 1969, of them putting Lonely on the helicopter. This picture is of me. God is complete. You know, you talk about the desires of your heart, and you talk about God always out there and things that just didn't come into play. Because there was a time of war and a time to kill and a time of healing and a time to do everything, but it's on His time and not ours. I wasn't ready until then. I wasn't ready to know what I know now about what happened in Vietnam that I couldn't remember. And it's because of Him working through Charlie and through all the other people in this very room who've touched my life. I cannot thank you enough. May God bless each and every one of you. Thank you.